I am Farron Peterson, joined today by Graham Lovatt, better known as Jimmy, the stallion manager at Godolphin, America at John Abel Farm, which is where we are today. Welcome back to the Boundless Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Farron Peterson, a professional jockey and veterinarian in Lexington, Kentucky. We are here to learn from stories of resilience, risk-taking, and perseverance. Jimmy, tell me about how you first started interacting with horses and the journey they took you on around the world.
Well, it started when my parents bought a pony for me when I was 5 years of age. I grew up at a riding school, and I guess I fell in love with horses then. In 2001, when I was back home in Australia, and my brother and I were just sitting outside one afternoon having a beer, and he said, we should pack up our bags, go to the bush and go work at a horse stud. I went, you know what, let's do it. Literally 2 weeks later, we were at a farm called Widden Stud. I was there for 6 years, absolutely loved it. The longest privately owned thoroughbred stud in the world, like on 10,000 acres. You're in a valley surrounded by old sandstone cliff face mountains. It was just beautiful. Loved it. Nice. Like an hour and a half drive to go do your grocery shopping. So you don't want to forget.
Rural.
You don't want to forget the milk. But so that's where it really started for me there. Yeah.
And how did you start venturing out of that? It seems so comfortable. What made you decide to leave?
Well, I still say it was like somewhat of the best 6 years of my working life. I loved it. Owner there, Anthony Thompson, he's seventh generation, eight's on the ground, and the stud manager there, he still is. He's named David Merrick, probably my first real mentor in this industry, and he just taught me so much. The farm manager there, Alan Young. After about 6 years, the stud manager at Darley Australia, he's the general manager at Darley Australia, Johnny Sunderland, and I knew him very well, and he was mentioning to me to come over to the Royal Blue. There's a lot of opportunities for a lot of global travel, and I'd already got the travel bug through Widden. I think it was 2006 that I had travelled over to Northern Ireland, and I went and worked a season there in Northern Ireland through Widden Stud, and I loved it and did a Northern Hemisphere season. Anyway, 2007 I thought, okay, I gave Johnny Sunderland a call, and after a beer at the commercial pub and a handshake, I started my journey with the Royal Blue. And that off-season there in Australia, he sent me off to Ireland, and I went and worked for his brother, actually. He was a point-to-point trainer, just something different.
Yeah.
And went and did that and had a great time. And then 2007 is when I had my first breeding season with Darley Australia, and and the journey began. And throughout that breeding season, I was asked if I wanted to go and do a season in Darley, America, and yep. So off I went. I flew over with Elusive Quality, actually, on back here. First trip was to here, and then worked the breeding season here, back to Australia, worked the breeding season at Aberdeen. And
that's exhausting, back-to-back breeding seasons.
Yeah, I did 14, 7 years in a row. But I loved it. And then, so I did my 2 breeding seasons there in Darley, Australia, and back and forth from here. Then I ended up then staying here full-time. Sort of what helped make my decision stay here is in 2008, the office manager here at the time, her name's Emma, we became good buddies, and in my following breeding season, that sort of eventuated. We started dating, and she's now my wife for the last nearly 10 years. So that kind of helped make the decision to come and stay.
Here.
I then went to Brazil with Elusive Quality, and came back and started was actually on the broodmare division. Michael Benahan, who started that back up. And when I say Michael Benahan, the 2 breeding seasons that I'd done here, I sort of knew that if I'm going to be working for someone, it would be him.
Why is
when,
that?
When you talk about mentors, as I said previously, like the stud manager at Widden Stud and great man, David Merrick, and I just found John Sunderland in Australia and Michael Benahan here, just a really good horseman, good manager, and someone that really cares as well.
Yeah.
And for me, it was someone to look up to.
Yeah.
I still do. I've got to say that. He's still my boss. I'm just
Yeah,
joking.
you got that, Michael? What can you tell me about working with Jimmy?
Jimmy is great to work with. He's very professional, dedicated to a fault, loves his stallions, and plus he's a great guy to help young people come through. We have the Godolphin Flying Stars students that do a rotation at the Stallion Barn, and he's very good at, especially if they've no experience at all in the breeding shed, introducing them what we do in the breeding shed and then giving them an opportunity to help out in there as well.
Yeah, off to Brazil, and then I worked the broodmare season here in America, and then back to Brazil again. And then the COO here at the time, Ollie Tate, he got promoted to the global COO job, so he got transferred over to Newmarket in England, and Emma was working for him, and he'd been there for a couple of months. He came back and said, I really kind of need you. I was pretty happy and content here in America, and no regrets. Off we went. We went to Newmarket and we had 4 years at Dallimore Stud in England. Worked for some great people. The stallion manager there, Ken Crozier, and the head of Darley USA, really, Darley England, Liam O'Rourke. Good people. I loved it. Emma and I did a lot of travelling. It's a good place to live and work, Newmarket. We enjoyed it. And then 2010, 8, 9, 10, 11, 2013 I think it was, so what, 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, Michael Benahan was over for Royal Ascot, and kind of just half mentioned that we kind of need to have a chat. And so that next morning after the races, we had a chat, and he offered me this position as stallion manager here. We always wanted to come back to America to come and work. Like a lot of the places I've been to, the work's the same, sort of, but it's what you've got outside of work, and you're spoiled for choice here in Lexington.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty good place to live. A lot of the studs back home in Australia, they're great.
Yeah, but the grocery store is an hour and a half away.
Yeah, you've got a bit of a drive. Isolated.
Right.
So yeah, now I've been here for the last 10 years, 10, 11, whatever it's been now, as stallion manager, and it's been good. It's been a lot of fun, and yeah.
Yeah, I like hearing how instrumental your mentors have been to you. That's been a huge thing to me as well, and I always encourage young people, find mentors in whatever it is you want to pursue and just learn under them, reach out to them.
It makes it easier when you've got someone to look up to. Like my first breeding season here, there was a guy that was working here called Philip Hampton, and I was very lucky to work 2 breeding seasons before I got this job with him, so 2, 8, so 10 breeding seasons with him. He'd been working here on this farm before he retired last year, 46 years.
Wow.
And he was someone I also he taught me a lot. I mean, you can't buy that experience.
Yeah, the work ethic,
Oh, wow.
to spend that many hours with a horse.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a journey. I look forward to my off seasons now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You've earned them.
7, I think it was like 7 years straight of just going back and forth, northern, southern, and I enjoyed it. But
Do you think when you're young it is important to put in those hours?
well, I don't think it's important to so much put in the hours. It's important to get the experience, if that makes more sense. I mean, if you can look, breeding seasons, it's demanding. It's long hours. But if you manage your time right, there's still life.
True.
Outside
Time
of work.
management, yeah.
Like I've got a guy on my team who started with me last year and worked the breeding season. He did great and asked my thoughts on travelling and getting some international experience. I thought, well, you're talking to the right person. He then went to Darley, Australia, to Northwood Park in Victoria. I think he's got the travel bug now. He's now in Osborne Park in the racing division in Australia, and he'll be back here. And, you know, I encourage everybody to go and get as much experience as you can, when you can, while you can. Especially if when you're young, single, you don't have a lot of...
You're not tied down.
You're not tied down.
Yeah.
Go and do it. And it's not just the work, it's the culture. I mean, since I've been here, the amount of Americans have gone, geez, I really want to go to Australia one day. Go and do it. But, especially like if you're young, you're getting out of college or you're trying to figure out what you want to do, and if this is the industry you want to be in, take those opportunities and go. No regrets.
Yeah, good. Now that you're in the position to mentor others and you're teaching these young stallion handlers who come in, I've heard you talk before about there are certain stallions that you'll put with a young handler to teach them. How do you teach someone to start working with a stallion, and then how do you pair that ultimate groom to the stallion?
Well, I think for starters, you've got to have some basic horsemanship before you start working with stallions. I mean, there's horses and then there's stallions. And once that testosterone kicks in, and that all starts when they've covered that first mare, they're a different animal.
Yeah.
And you've got to respect that. And so when teaching someone to work with stallions, it's easy, but at the same time, I use the phrase a lot, less is more. So leave them alone.
Yeah, you start a fight, they're going to push back harder.
Yeah. Get out of their bubble, basically. To answer your question, you've got to learn to know and have your space, respect the horse, earn their respect too. I mean, you just don't, and it's the same with humans.
Just don't enter their space.
Don't enter their space. I mean, you wouldn't like it if I come right up to your face and started talking. And it's the same deal with horses. So that's the first step. Learn to work with the horse. When I say horse, so then it becomes with the stallions, they're going to be cheeky buggers. They're going to want to bite. They're going to want to kick if you give them that opportunity. They're territorial animals. So you've got to either, one, learn to respect that and appreciate that, or it's not going to work. You've got two choices, do that or you're going to come to work and have a fight every day.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do that. So once you learn to figure out that, you give them their space and do what you've got to do, and then leave them alone. I think that's important. And then there's obviously learning where to be and what to do, and when it's time to start bringing horses into the shed, and it's only practice.
Yeah.
Once you get going, we had a Godolphin flying start student this year. She was great. She showed a lot of keenness and kept coming back in her own time to want to do more and learn more. And I could tell that she had that ability to to be good.
Uh-huh.
And I think after about 2-3 weeks, I was in the breeding shed and I said, all right, I was Maxfield. I said, all right, Max is next. I said, go and get him. Mm-hmm. And Harper, her name was, or is. And she kind of half looked, I've never done this before. I said, well, you're not going to unless you go and do it, so go and get him. I went with her and it was textbook.
Yeah.
She paid attention, she watched. I think she was the only one that covered with him for most of the season.
Yeah.
You know, she did great. So you got to have that ability to want to do it, have that ability to learn, not want to fight, and it can be a fun job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
But you've got to have. You also got to have a love and passion for the horse.
Yes.
A passion for the industry. Then the rest will just fall into place. If you have that, yeah.
The Thoroughbred Industry Employee Awards is a globally sponsored program by Godolphin to reward and recognize thoroughbred industry staff. The program is currently in 5 countries: England, Ireland, France, USA, and Australia. It is celebrating its 10th year in the US and has awarded over $1 million in prize money to over 250 individuals working in all capacities of the sport. Nominations open tomorrow and close on July 14th. The ceremony will be in Lexington, Kentucky on Tuesday, October 21st. There are 7 categories in which people can be nominated. Anyone can nominate. Please visit the website tiea.org to nominate. Please call the Godolphin office with any questions on the process. Candidates do not have to be U.S. citizens, they just have to be working in the U.S. legally. Please send in your nominations. There's a category for everyone.
I've been in several breeding sheds, done vet work, and overseen. I've never seen a female handling the stallion. So I think it's great you gave her that opportunity. How rare is that for you to see?
Not rare at all. I don't really care who you are, what you are. If you want to do the job and you're good at the job, you got the job. 2 years ago, her name was Jess. She's the assistant staying manager at Darley Australia at Northwood Park. She came and shuttled over here to get some international experience and work here in the shed with me for a whole breeding season. Not only she was bringing every stallion in, I had her run in the shed and entering, and she was brilliant. She was great. So yeah, look, there is that perception of that old school, females are not going to be working in a breeding shed. Yeah, not this one. You know? Yeah. I mean, I was chatting to you when we were getting set up, and to me, she's an inspiration to all. Her name's Veronica, who's now the stay manager at Three Chimneys. And I've got to know her for a little while now, and she is an amazing horse person.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, to answer your question, for little girls that are growing up and want to work in this industry, I mean, she's somebody to look up to.
Yeah.
Because there she is. She's running, one of the biggest staying stations in the world. She's in charge.
Right.
It's all on her. And yeah, if she can do it, anyone can.
You can too.
Yeah.
You have drive and horsemanship.
Yep.
You can learn.
But you've got to, and I'll often say there's horses and then there's stallions. You've got to have, to work in a staying station, you do have to have some basic horsemanship first.
Right. Don't start with stallions.
No. No.
You might lose a finger.
Well, I mean, look, you could, but it'd be hard work. Those stallions will test you. You're either going to learn very quickly, or you're going to probably want to go flip hamburgers at McDonald's. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't want to throw someone into the fire straight away. Go and work at a broodmare division and just start getting a feel around a horse, or a yearling division, and yeah.
And you work at a very glamorous operation now, but are you glad that you started in the bush of Australia? Was it important for your foundation?
Look, I think so, yeah. Widden stud is generally, I think I've even heard Anthony say that, the owner of Widden. You know, it's like a foundation stud for a lot of horse people in the industry. A lot of people have gone through. I mean, as a nursery, like I think 160 years they've been breeding, and I think so. I think it was important for me, and especially transferring over to a company called with Godolphin. You are spoiled. I mean, the facilities that you're working with, the quality of horses you're working with, it's second to none.
For sure.
And for me, I can appreciate what I've got because of where I've been.
Right. You know.
Yeah. You know, and especially having those opportunities to go to Brazil a couple of times and be working with some great horsemen, some great people. It was an eye-opener for me in the sense of I've never experienced so much poverty in all my life, but somewhat the most happiest people in all my life as well.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it was. And so they're the type of experiences that can help you grow, not just in your career but as a person as well.
You're right.
Like it made me
Give you
sort
new
of.
perspective.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell our viewers the story of Cody's Wish?
Cody's Wish, talk about inspiration. Godolphin, we sponsor a Make-A-Wish child every year at Keeneland. A little boy named Cody Dorman. His wish was to go and visit and see a racehorse. So off he went to Gainsborough Farm, and a couple of mares and foals came out, and this one little foal kind of half beelined and went over to Cody Dorman, who had Wolff-Hirschham's disease, and he was in a wheelchair, and this little foal come rested his head on his lap. And there and then the team named this little foal Cody's Wish. The story began. So it grew from there, and Cody, the horse, he had a couple of starts that he hit the board, and Cody Dorman, he said that he wouldn't, he's not going to win until I'm actually there with him. The Dorman family, off they went, and Cody's Wish wins. Second race, third race. Cody's Wish went on to, go back-to-back Breeders' Cup Dirt Miles.
Fighting back national treasure of Cody's Wish. Here's the wire. That one's for you, Cody. Cody's Wish has won the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
Last year when Cody won the Dirt Mile at Santa Anita, that was his last race. It was also Cody Dorman's last race too, because he passed away the following day. All good and well to see it on TV or see the clips and follow the story, until you actually see it for yourself. That horse is pretty special. Well, he knows. So we can't, and I won't show stallions whilst we're breeding. It's too dangerous. The stallions have got one thing on their mind when you bring them out of the stall, and that's coming into the breeding shed. And then we're halfway through a breeding session, lunchtime breeding session this year. Dan Pride, our COO, he's called me. He's gone, Jimmy, we've got the Dorman family. They've buddied up with another family from the Make-A-Wish and program, and they want to come up and see Cody. I said, yeah, that's fine. They're here now. Oh, damn, we're breeding. Oh, don't worry, I'll make it work. So anyway, I walked Cody out, and he's bouncing. I've got Nyquist in the shed, and he's screaming away and getting ready to go to work. This little boy who's in a chair, he also had Wolff-Hirschham's disease, clapped his hand and made a noise. I literally could have just dropped the shank. Like Cody, he melted. He hucked down, he curved his head and beelined and wanted to go over to this little boy. I never experienced anything like it. It was unbelievable. So
Wow.
they're going to make their production and will be starting soon. They're going to make a movie, and Yeah, it's it made the story continue. Like he covered 165 mares this season for us, and Nyquist, he's always been the most highest percentage of fertility of any stallion I've ever. Like he was about 91% every year of his mares getting in foal. I'd never thought I'd have a horse until Cody's Wish come along, and he finished at 92%.
Wow.
So yeah, he's a pretty special horse.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we can have more Codys out there.
There's going to be, it's going to be exciting, and we're very lucky. We've got it's a great stallion roster. You know, we've got some old and new, and Medali Duro is 25, and look, when we're done, we can go up and
Meet
go up
them.
and see him. And
Okay.
I mean, he looks amazing for
Yeah.
nearly 26 years of age.
Yeah.
He's still the strongest horse I've got in the shed. I can't put a junior on him. He'll push you next door to
Wow.
Millridge. He's a powerhouse. You know, and Nyquist's doing what he's doing now. I think he's going to get a pretty good pay rise this year.
Yeah, good.
So we'll
He's
see.
earned it.
Yeah, he has. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. And I've been around Cody a little. He's not exactly naturally a gentle horse, is he? Like, you wouldn't put anyone's little kid in front of Cody, would you? It
No.
seems like it's just his connection to Cody from what I've heard. I've not seen Cody interact with the horse.
Look,
I've seen videos and I've heard Mott's Barn talk about the difference. Even the exercise riders go, I wouldn't be petting on his face outside of his stall. But
No.
Cody comes in with what, a cupcake? Is that what he likes?
so quite like often the Dorman family, Kelly and Leslie, will come up with Kylie, Cody Dorman's little sister. And a few times when it's been out of work hours, or 2 weeks ago when the production company came in wanted to see the horse, who a director and the script writer are making the movie. I've got it teed up now. I'll bring him out, and he can be a little bit naughty, but it's not a mean bone in his body. Look, he's 17 hands.
Yeah, it's a big horse.
He's not a little pony. But I've got Kylie now sorted, where she'll chop up a few carrots and mince, and she'll come stand next to me, and that's it. The horse just stands there, loves her to bits.
Yeah.
Would I let others do that? No.
Right.
To answer that, but he does. He just
Yeah.
he's very gentle. Yeah, it is a connection. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you asked the question there, going something different, where having a staying groom,
Right.
looking after a particular stallion, and there is a bond that you do form with the horse, and you try and stay consistent with that one groom
Yeah.
who looks after that particular stallion or stallions. But at the end of the day, any of the stallion lads will look after all the stallions at any given time, but you try and stay consistent. And sometimes after a couple of weeks or a couple of months, it's not working. They're just not getting along.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's fine. Change. And yeah, it's a personality clash. It could be. So yeah, you do your best to make it work and make it as smooth as you can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ever have a stallion come who seemed too dangerous or untrainable that you nearly gave up on and had to figure them out?
No, I've been pretty lucky in that way. I mean, not really. I mean, the lads that we've had in the barn since I've been here and current, thank God, touch wood, I haven't got a mean or dangerous horse. Yeah. And I think maybe, I don't know, but you can put it down to luck, but you can also put it down to how they're handled. You hear a lot of people, oh, that particular breed of dog, they're mean. Well, I disagree with that. I think it's how they're raised or it's how they're handled.
Yeah, I agree.
We're very lucky where a lot of the stallions that have come from trainers of Bill Mott, Brendan Walsh,
Really good horsemen.
and Brad Cox, and Mike and Hillary Stidham, like They're great. They've been looked after. And also too, something I inherited from the previous stallion manager, who was like he still is like my American papa, Jim Zajic. The majority of the stallions here, they don't have a bit in their mouth. We'll show just with the shank over their nose. We'll breed with them as well. And when I say less is more, that's another key of let them relax. Let them just be a horse. I won't have tension. Well, I won't have that attitude of the I said you will. You know, they're gonna bounce now and then. Well, they're stallions.
Yeah.
Let them be.
Let them be a horse.
Look, check them when you need to. You know, there's got to be a respect. There's got to be a fine line.
Right.
But when it comes to the breeding shed, look, at the end of the day, I don't like, you know, when you see breeding bridles and bits and in their mouths and someone constantly shanking on them and
right.
Just
what message are you sending them?
Yeah, just let them come in and go to work. You know, that's yeah.
Yeah, I think it shows respect to the stallion.
Yeah.
And I think those champion horses especially.
And they return
respect.
the favour.
Yeah.
And I do. I put it in the same perspective of human connection. If I'm sitting here now disrespecting you and you're not going to like it.
No.
You're going to probably return that favour. You're going to, yeah. So it's the same. But look, we're very lucky here. We've got a great program. I've got a lot of, we've got a lot of good people that help the production take place, really. When I say production, it really is, especially during the breeding season. I have an amazing chiropractor named Shirley, and she'll come in twice a week and adjust all the boys.
Yeah. Seriously,
couldn't be able to keep that wheel turning smoothly without her.
Right.
And amazing vets. I have a vet named Dr. Rhonda Rathgaber, and she'll do the acupuncture work. So with quite like.
I like how you're very open to integrative medicine.
Well, some people a little bit don't believe in chiropractic work. You kind of just got to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
And I'll give a prime example. When I first got here in this role, chiropractic work didn't occur. We had one of the stallions here. He'd come into the shed and he'd be 6-7 times just bouncing on and off, and you could tell he was out, he was sore. And managed to get Shirley to come in and start adjusting this horse. After about 3-4 adjustments, I'll never forget, Michael Benahan, the manager here, he says to me, well, is this working? I said, well, I can't answer that. Let the horse, he's actually coming in next. I'm standing there thinking, oh, come on, one and done. And he came in smooth. He got on the mare, one and done, and changed his whole breeding season just by feeling good. I mean, it's the same.
And like horses wanting to run.
Well, it's the same as us. If you're an athlete and you're going to go run a mile and you've put your hip out, you're not going to be able to do it properly, are you?
Yeah, no, not at all.
It's the same with a horse. You treat the symptom, fix the symptom, instead of putting a Band-Aid on it. You don't need to be giving them drugs.
Especially when you need a horse like Badaglia Doro to do it till 25. Like, you want a long career for these horses.
Look, he's going to be a 26-year-old covering stallion next year. And he's probably, when I say, he's still probably one of the fittest horses. I mean, now, in saying that, a contributing factor to that is an exercise program that we've got here. We've got a water aquatread that initially it was set up for him. He's a horse that, it is what it is. He just doesn't like being out in his paddock.
Yeah.
He'll get turned out and 5-10 minutes later he wants to come back in. And look, it is what it is. I'm thinking, well, he's got to do something. He can't be just sitting in his stall, standing in his stall for 23 hours a day. So yeah, we come up with a water aqua tread, and I think a combination from, I call it the Shirley Rondo combo, which is my chiropractor and acupuncturist, and the aqua tread that's helped. He's helped him at least the last couple of breeding seasons. Mm-hmm. I think he's just like a good bowl of red wine. He's just seriously getting better with age.
Yeah.
He's a good horse. We're very lucky to have him. I mean, especially, what was it, 2018, 2019, it was like a $250,000 service fee, and he's been one of the big boys for a long time. Mm-hmm. Look, he still is.
He certainly paid off that aqua tread.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he paid for it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to next year's breeding season. I mean, may it continue, especially like with Medalliadora. Talking about him, he's a fun horse to cover with.
Mm-hmm. His personality? He just
yeah. He when it's time, it's time to go, you kind of got to work with him. Mm-hmm. And hold on. Like, you got to go with him.
Yeah.
You run into the mare, basically. But then, yeah, he's a professional. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when I say, yeah, you just got to look, every horse is an individual.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest keys is learning how he does his job. Mm-hmm. Or how he wants to do his job.
Yeah. And you work around that.
And you work with that. Oh, and around that. But yeah, you got to work with them. When you start working against them and doing it the way you want to do it,
right?
I mean, look, it's going to work. Yeah. You'll get it done, but it's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be a fight. And
neither of you are having fun.
No, you want it to be fun, but more importantly, you want it to be done safe.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, you want that stallion to come in and cover that mare as quickly and as safely as possible. Mm-hmm. And that safety part comes down to how we operate in the shed. And, you know, we're wearing helmets, wearing vests. Thankfully, I've got a vet here for every cover. Mm-hmm. And if I've got a mare that's a little antsy or a little nervous, we'll sedate her just to relax her.
Right.
For a safety standpoint, I don't want my stallion getting hurt. I don't want any staff getting hurt.
And even for the mare, I say that with sedation when I work in the ER with small animals. Like, let's make it a good memory for them, because they are going to have to come back and do this. And so. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's number one key, is safety with the job that we do. And over the last 10 years of being here, touch wood, the safety record's pretty good, very good. The quicker part, well then, that comes down to a lot of the behind the scenes. That comes down to having a healthy, happy, sound horse.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I say sound, that's that contributing factor with having some chiropractic work, having some acupuncture work, having a little aqua tread work. The horses will be turned out every day. I'm a big believer of...
So they're out in pasture,
living
pasture, like a horse.
Let them be a horse at least for 4 or 5 hours of a day, where they could just be left alone. Yeah. I think we mess about with them a little too much, but that's the job, and that's the name of the game. And I think one of the biggest parts is the handling. It starts from the stall. You don't want that groom or handler fighting with them.
Right.
What we were talking about earlier, working with them, doing what you need to do, and have that soft hand.
Yeah.
Stern when needed, if needed, but I think that's a big contributing factor of handling horses full stop, but especially the stallions. Yeah.
I believe that when I go out to ride a race and it starts in the paddock, and if I'm cooperating with my horse there, if the horse isn't cooperating with their groom in the paddock, and you know, that's setting them up for fighting. And then when they pass us off to the pony, depending on what pony person I have, if it's someone who's a good horseman and we get very familiar with them, or if it's someone who's going to fight against them, then it's better for me to just warm up on my own, and we're setting these horses up before they even get in the starting gate.
Yeah, they've already run their race before they start.
Yeah.
So I think, it is important, is to keep them relaxed and only do what you need to do with them. Apart from that, leave them alone. I mean, it's the same when, I've flown with the horses a lot, back and forth from, whether it's from England or Australia to here or whatever. And, when they're in their own air stall, we don't even time up for takeoff and landing. Just literally, just leave them alone. Let them relax.
Yeah, it's safer that way.
And, they handle it better than I do. So, yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone just starting their career?
Well, firstly, I'd probably ask the question, do you love horses? Do you have a passion with horses? And if that's a yes, then I would advise to, start working on a farm, on a broodmare division, a yearling division. Just start getting some basic horsemanship. Take every opportunity that comes your way, and say yes. Just get out there and do it. Have fun. You're not going to like everywhere you go. You'll find somewhere that you like and stick with it. And the breeding seasons or yearling seasons, whatever you're doing, yes, it can be some long hours, but it is rewarding. Seeing that horse that you've had something to do with, you've touched, you've helped, and all of a sudden he's out there winning a Grade 1.
Yeah.
Or I foaled that horse down. That's special.
Yeah.
I mean, you look behind us here, and half the barn that's up there, here are the trophies, and behind me is Misty Guide's Dubai World Cup, and a lot of the team here had a lot to do with him. He was born and raised at Gainsborough Farm, and Johnny Burke at Keeneland. He's like our hidden X factor.
He's
a
amazing.
rehab, and spent a lot of time with him, and to see him fly over to Dubai and win the Dubai World Cup. I mean, what a thrill.
Yeah.
To all the lads that looked after him. And yeah, I mean, we've got, actually, I'm at Saratoga, the Jockey Club Gold Cup this year. And one of our homebreds, who was born and bred here at Jonabell, Highland Falls, he wins the Jockey Club Gold Cup. And it was just myself and Emma and the racing manager, Michael Benahan. And luckily, we're in the room and having a glass of champagne and celebrating. And next minute, my phone texts, and one of the lads that works here in the staying station, he's great. His name's Javier, and he sent me a video of him taking care of him at Keeneland.
Oh, neat.
With a big story of, wow, this is so cool. This is an inspiration that I actually kind of played my part to get him to where he is now. I'm reading this, I'm like, wow, that's why we do what we do.
That is.
Those stories right there.
Yeah.
And like when I see that smile on someone's face when they've put that first stallion up, oh, I did it.
Yeah.
For me, that's the most favourite part of my job. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for telling us about the horsemanship, the personalities of the horses, and that horses can take you around the world. They can change your life.
Look, this is a great industry to be in, and you don't really get to appreciate it unless you're in here doing it. And you've got to be lucky to start working for someone that you can look up to. And enjoy your job, have fun. Look, there's so many different avenues as well, whether it's doing what you're doing, on the back riding them, whether it's being in the breeding shed, whether it's foaling mares and looking after the little babies, whether it's out in the sales department, the marketing department. And, there's so many different avenues that so many people can, we'll get to see in a little bit, but the office that I call it, not a bad office to be working in. I mean, my surroundings, the farm, the barn.
Yeah.
It's not a
No,
lot of the
these
time.
racehorses live better than I do.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the times I've got to pinch myself and say that I'm actually getting paid to do this job.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky.
That's how I feel. I
Yeah.
show up to do my job for free, but I'm glad I can make a lifestyle out of it.
Well, yeah, we've got to eat.
Yeah. It would only last so long.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Great. Well, let's meet some stallions.
Okay, let's go.
And now for a moment from our next episode with Sandy Hawley, airing May 22nd, 2025.
We did do a stress test one time where all the hockey players came in, the football players, the basketball players, baseball, and I mentioned the hockey players as well. And all the jockeys went in as a group, and we did a stress test.
What's a stress test?
Dr. Robert Curlin set it up where you'd have to go on the treadmill, and then they do your body weight, how much body fat you have and everything. And the jockeys were fitter than any of the athletes.
All right,
So
take
we
that.
We were in pretty good shape.
Boundless is a podcast that explores the stories of individuals who have accomplished the seemingly impossible by breaking molds and redefining success through unique challenges, pivotal moments, and unbreakable determination.
This episode of Boundless is brought to you by Amwager, where horse racing fans can be part of the action anytime, anywhere. Watch, wager, and enjoy races from tracks across the country on a fast, secure platform built for racing enthusiasts. Whether you're following your favorite horses or jockeys or discovering new tracks, Amwager makes it easy to stay connected to the sport you love. Getting started is simple. Sign up today at amwager.com and enjoy a 100% deposit match. Terms apply. See amwager.com for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available. Please call 1-800-GAMBLER.